That's funny. Wow. I'm reading some warning and caution labels. Have you ever done that just to see what it says? Well, this one says caution. Plastic plastic bags can cause suffocation. Please keep this product and all plastic products away from babies and children. Do not permit children to play with them. Why would you let your child play with a plastic bag? What parent does that? And do not use them in cribs, okay, beds, okay, carriages, like in strollers maybe? Why would you use them in a stroller? Or playpens. Hmm. Wow. And that was on garbage bags. And there's a vegetable cutter. Warning, handle with care. Blades are very sharp. Do not touch blades. Do not allow children to use this product. Well, if it's a cutter, you would think it's going to have blades, right? And blades are sharp because they do what? They cut. It's just, it's silly, I tell you. Um, if you get the time, take the time to look at some of these warning labels and these caution labels. They seem ridiculous to us, but the sad thing is they're there for a reason because someone did something they weren't supposed to do. I remember a long time ago before, there was social media that there was an email going around, and I don't know if it's true or not, but it just kind of gives you an idea of the ridiculousness sometimes that a man had a motorhome and he put it on cruise control, went back and made him a sandwich, and of course, what do you know? The motorhome crashed. And some people think that was dumb, but I mean, think about it. I mean, we're all dumb at one point. We all do dumb things. I mean, have you ever raised a teenager? There you go. And if you haven't raised a teenager, have you been a teenager? I mean, we all do dumb things. We all do things that we're not supposed to do, anyways. I remember my brother and I were taking, when we were younger, we were taking piano lessons, and there was a point where there was like a lot of kids taking piano lessons, and you had to wait your turn. So we would go and find things to do around the piano teacher's house to waste time until it was our turn. So what did we do? We went up on the second floor and we jumped off. Not thinking, oh wow, we could break our legs or anything like that. I mean, we were kids. We did dumb things sometimes. I remember one time I thought it would be funny and cool to put a spaghetti noodle up my nose and snort it up. Yeah, that was painful. Don't ever do that. They should have that warning on spaghetti noodles. Noodles are not meant to snort. But sometimes companies, I mean, you look at like all of these medications and everything, all these new medications that are on TV, and they have like this long list of may cause. And it's not that the medications will cause, but they have to list everything and every possibility that there can possibly be so they don't get sued. Because sometimes we're either ignorant and we do things because we don't know, or we do know and we do it out of stubbornness. And well, if this, there's no warning on here about this, so if this happens, I'm going to sue them and I'm going to become rich and then I don't have to work again. I mean, that's the mentality of people nowadays, and it's sad. I mean, where have our morals gone? I just don't get it. But I was looking up some warnings, and I found some of these very interesting warnings from products, and they kind of give us a little bit of a laugh. Warning, never iron clothes on the body. Huh? Why would you do that? Why would you? Okay. When I was younger, when I was in high school, all of my clothes I used to iron, and I iron them in the morning, and I am not a morning person. I do not like mornings at all. Just ask my husband, ask some of my older children. Do not like mornings. I am a grumpy wumpy in the first thing in the morning, and it takes me forever sometimes to wake up. But I used to iron my clothes in the morning, and every day I would iron over my hand because I was just so tired. And and so I had like these permanent blisters on my hands because I would constantly iron over my hand. I mean, sometimes I'm just an accident waiting to happen. Do not pick up gasoline or flammable liquids. Do not use to pick up anything that is currently burning. Any guesses what that's for? Believe it or not, that's for a vacuum cleaner. Why would you vacuum up fire? Wow. This is not a life-saving device. Guess what it's on? Yep, a life-saving device. Caution, avoid dropping air conditioners out of the windows. I really don't think that when someone's installing an air conditioner that their purpose or intent is to drop it out of the window. Warning, do not use while sleeping. Any ideas what that's for? Could be a number of things. It's for a blow dryer. Why would you blow? Who blow dried their hair while they were sleeping? I want to know who did that to put that warning on there. If it's you, speak up. Okay. Keep away from water. Another hair dryer. And let's look at some other things. Let's look at some electronics. Those were appliances. I wonder what there are for electronics here. I tell you. Okay, so this is for a computer. On startup, no keyboard detected. Press any key to continue. Oh my goodness. Do not attempt to stick head inside deck, which may result in injury. That's from a GameCube. Warning, disconnect telephone lines before opening. It's for a computer. Why would you do that? Um, Caution, risk of electric shock. Do not open. You know, sometimes we take warnings a little bit too far, and we do the avoidance thing. Well, I'm going to avoid this or I'm going to avoid that, and that way the it'll never happen to me because you're just, I mean, risk of electric shock. Do not open. Then why'd you buy the product if you're not supposed to open it? I mean, we do the same thing. I mean, we really do. Um, wow. Let's look at some hygiene products. Then I'll get to my point here. Avoid getting in eyes. And it's shampoo. Do not swallow. In case of ingestion, call poison control or hospital. That's for mouthwash. For external use only. Aveeno bath treatment. Okay, why would you do this? Warning, do not use this product on infants under 6 months of age. That's for Clarisol, medicated antibacterial cleanser. Why would you do that on a 6-month-old? And why would you do it for an 8-month-old, for that matter? Really? Oh my goodness. Do not use as ice cream topping. This is from hair coloring product. Do not use for an ice cream topping. Wow. Well, now that we've had some laughs, I'm going to tell you about another warning. And this is a very important and serious warning. It is kind of a long warning, but I want you to pay attention to this warning. You know, I mean, we read some of the other warnings, and some of them were absolutely ridiculous. So you wonder, are we that dumb? Are we really that dumb that we do dumb things to cause these warnings? I mean, really? Well, this is a warning, and this is a warning to everybody. Listen carefully. But it shall come to pass, if you do not obey the voice of the Lord your God, to observe carefully all of his commandments and his statutes, which I command you today, that all these curses will come upon you and overtake you. Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the country. Cursed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Cursed shall be the fruit of your body and the produce of your land, the increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flocks. Cursed shall you be when you come in, and cursed shall you be when you go out. The Lord will send on you cursing, confusion, and rebuke in all that you set your hands to do, until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly, because of the wickedness of your doings in which you have forsaken me. The Lord will make the plague cling to you until he has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess. The Lord will strike you with consumption, with fever, with inflammation, with severe burning fever, with the sword, with scorching, and with mildew. They shall pursue you until you perish. And your heavens which are over your head shall be bronze, and the earth which is under you shall be iron. The Lord will change the rain on your land to powder and dust. From the heaven it shall come down on you until you are destroyed. The Lord will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You shall go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and you shall become troublesome to all the kingdoms of the earth. Your carcasses shall be food for all the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and no one shall frighten them away. The Lord will strike you with boils of Egypt, with tumors, with scabs, and with the itch from which you cannot be healed. The Lord will strike you with madness and blindness and confusion of heart. And you shall grope at noonday, as a blind man gropes in darkness. You shall not prosper in your ways. You shall only be oppressed and plundered continually, and no one shall save you. You shall betroth a wife, but another man shall lie with her. You shall build a house, but you shall not dwell in it. You shall plant a vineyard, but shall not gather its grapes. Your ox shall be slaughtered before your eyes, but you shall not eat of it. Your donkey shall be violently taken away from before you, and shall not be restored to you. Your sheep shall be given to your enemies, and you shall have no one to rescue them. Your sons and your daughters shall be given to another people, and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long. And there shall be no strength in your hand. A nation whom you have not known shall eat the fruit of your land and the produce of your labor, and you shall be only oppressed and crushed continually. So you shall be driven mad because of the sight of which your eyes see. The Lord will strike you in the knees and on the legs with severe boils which cannot be healed, and from the sole of your foot to the top of your head. The Lord will bring you and the king whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there shall you serve other gods, wood and stone. And you shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations where the Lord will drive you. You shall carry much seed out of the field, but gather little in, for the locust shall consume it. You shall plant vineyards and tend them, but you shall neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. You shall have olive trees throughout your territory, but you shall not anoint yourself with the oil, for your olives shall drop off. You shall beget sons and daughters, but they shall not be yours, for they shall go into captivity. Locusts shall consume all your trees and the produce of your land. The alien who is among you shall rise higher and higher above you, and you shall come down lower and lower. He shall lend to you, but you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and pursue and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord your God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you. And it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And that's in Deuteronomy 28, And I read from verse 15 till 45. Now you may wonder, well, what are his commands? Well, I mean, his commands were very clear. Yes, there were a whole bunch of them that went off of him, and there were some that the church made because, like that one warning I told you, um, do not open because this might happen. That's what the church did a long time ago. Well, to avoid this from happening, let's make this law and let's make this law. And that's why Jesus condemned them for the laws of man, because they weren't God's laws. So, I mean, it's very simple. You shall have no other gods before him. You shall not make yourself carved images of anything of heaven or beneath heaven or in the earth or in the, because he is a jealous God. You shall not bow down to them. You shall not take the Lord's name in vain. You are to observe the Sabbath day. You shall not work on the Sabbath day. That's a day of rest. You should honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or desire your neighbor's house, his field, his servant, his female servant, his male servant, his ox, his donkey, or anything that is your neighbor's. But the biggest one is the biggest commandment of all, and Jesus was asked that. The disciples said, "What is the biggest commandment of all of the commandments?" And he said, "To love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul." Because we look at some of these, I mean, all of the commandments stretch through chapters and chapters of Deuteronomies. And some of them are, kind of like, moral things that anybody should know. But we do them anyways. I mean, he gave us these commandments and these laws. But we're so stubborn that we do them anyways just to be disobedient. Or we're so ignorant that we do them and we don't realize we're doing them until after it's done, and then there's consequences. Or we do them and just totally ignore the laws that were given to us. I mean, they're simple. They're simple laws, simple things to do. And yeah, a lot of them are very, very hard to do because we are human. But if we obey the top command to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, guess what happens? We love him so much that we do everything we possibly can to obey the laws. This is not a time for rebellion. It is not a time for us to rebel and say, well, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. I don't want anyone to tell me how to live or how to behave or what I can and cannot do. And you know what? That is what a lot of people think nowadays. That's why they stopped going to church. Well, I don't want them telling me what to do. Guess what? That's ignorance. That's complete and total ignorance and disobedience. Because if you follow the first command to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind, you desire to obey the laws that God had put before us. You desire to do good. You desire to please him. You desire to walk in all of his ways. And then when we fail, which we will, when we fail at one, we go in prayer and we ask for forgiveness. Because the Holy Spirit has put a conscience in us and we're aware of the things that we've done wrong. And if we're doing something wrong that we're not aware of, if we're ignorant of it, we ask God to show us what are we doing that is sinful in our nature and help me to overcome it. That's how we should be. I mean, who goes to sleep with a blow dryer in their hand on? Really? So let me ask you this. Who disobeys the laws of God